I swear, someone should give me a medal for being able to avoid pop culture references or pop culture movies, trends, books, anything of relevancy sometimes just flies right over my head for years and years. And then there comes a point where I just didn't even know something huge happened. For example, I experienced Harry Potter for the first time in 2025. I'm pretty sure them joints came out late 1990s, the books did. And then the movies premiered from early 2000s to 2011 or something. But I have managed for nearly 2 decades worth to just avoid Harry Potter. Why? I knew it was popular, but I was like, nah, it's not for me. I kind of just got stuck on the idea it was a kid's book and that ship has sailed. And if I was going to enjoy Harry Potter, I kind of missed my age of doing so. I would have enjoyed it when I was 10, but now that I'm 27, it's probably not my cup of tea. And when I was growing up, I was a kid at the prime time of it happening. Right? So if the books came out in the late 90s, early 2000s, I would have been, let's say, 8 years old at 2005. And that's when the books were just first coming out. I missed it. But in my opinion, reading the Harry Potter books just were not cool growing up. I didn't want to be seen with a fat book of 600, 700 pages. I just thought it was too intimidating. And anytime I did look at someone who was reading one of those books, I was like, they are way smarter than me. It just fell through the cracks for a very long time. And now in 2025, I still can say that I've read the Harry Potter books, but that's changing. Instead, I can say I've watched the movies. And the movies, holy smokes, the movies made me fall in love with the world. Hogwarts is awesome. The wizarding world is so cool. I love magic. And I feel like a kid just learning new stuff. It's so exciting and fun to be immersed in a world like this. It kind of makes me sad now that I know there are no more movies for me to watch about it, now that the series is done. Sometimes when I play video games, I'll leave the final boss for an extended period of time because I just don't want the game to end. And when it came to the movies, I let 10 minutes be unviewed for days and days because I didn't want the Harry Potter series to be concluded like that. It's tough. It makes me sad because I was so immersed and into it. Now that I've watched the movies, it's time for me to dive into the books. And I'm happy to find out the new details because I've looked up online that, the movies are only 2.5 hours long and the books are 600 pages. They got to dock some stuff out. So you learn a bit more details. You feel a bit more immersed in the world. So I'm excited to have a background of knowing what happens, but being able to dive deeper into the world now that I'm going to experience it in my mind rather than on a screen. I'm looking forward to that. I got the books and I'm already taking quizzes and setting up my Wizards account online. Here are my thoughts, and take this with a grain of salt because this is thoughts from a noob. Okay, remember, this is my first time watching through it. Harry Potter is so complex, and I missed a lot of plots, a lot of subplots. I was watching it with a friend, and she'd be like, do you know what this character is, or do you know what this does? And I would just have to look at her and be like, no, but I know he has to find Horcruxes. I feel like this series is something that you almost have to study a little bit to really know the intricacies of it. And that is one part that really excites me because it's now that the movies are over, it's not like my adventure is over. But thoughts from a noob. The first 2 movies were super jolly and exciting. The actors were really young. They were kids. They were 11. I've watched so few movies that I honestly could not tell if there was good acting or bad acting. The general consensus is when they were kids, it was pretty mediocre acting, but then they grew into their part tenfold and got exponentially better. But from an outsider's perspective who is very little into the movie critic scene, the movies were 100% enjoyable and I loved them, but they did have a lighter, more childlike feel to them. But diving into a whole new world, I remember booting up my iPad thinking, man, I don't know why, but today I'm just going to start Harry Potter. Today I'm just going to do it. And I did it. And the opening scene of having Harry dropped off on a doorstep for his aunts to pick up And then I remember the first night, I think I watched like a half an hour's worth. So I got to the part where he got an invitational letter and the owl would just keep coming to the ant's house and letters would be forced into their house. The ant would be cracking open eggs and then instead of a yolk coming out, freaking letters would come out and it was an invitation to Hogwarts. It felt really magical and I loved how they set it up. And the first two movies had a happy tone to them. Remember, this is a review from a noob. I don't know how to go into detail. I'm just explaining to you my thoughts. Movie 3 was my absolute favorite. The idea and the execution of the time travel that was put into that movie was, I don't want to say flawless because I'm sure there were some things wrong with it. It felt flawless to me. I was so enamored by the way they constructed everything and how seamlessly everything flowed together. When Harry had to summon a Patronus, I believe it was, to save himself from the Dream Eaters or Death Eaters, and he was really scared. He's like, my dad's going to show up. But I just remember everything lined up perfectly. Hermione had to throw the rock. Movie 3 was the best. It started the darker tone of it all too, because it went from being super, super happy, school being a getaway, to like something bad's happening. Death Eaters are coming. Harry is in trouble. And then you get to movies 4, 5, and 6, and mostly 4 and 5. They were great movies. I remember there's like a competition in one of them, and then the old Hogwarts structure got overruled by, I think it's called the Order of the Phoenix. They got overruled by it. School started taking up a whole new system. It's cool, but they were at my lesser favorite sides, not because they're bad movies. I do believe that all of these movies are great, but because I am a noob and I like action and I like story building, I guess. So the Half-Blood Prince was basically setting up relationships with everyone. But then at the very end, I realized that Harry Potter ain't come to play no games. They killed off the leader Dumbledore. I was baffled that they actually did that. And then you come to the 7th. It was the epic conclusion, the final showdown. Battles were incredible, and I really wasn't sure how the end would look. I didn't know, like, obviously the movies were killing off other characters. Would they kill off Harry? I actually, believe it or not, didn't know going in if he was going to live or not. The fact that he died, and I say died in quotes because in the movie, I don't think he died, but maybe in the books he dies and then gets resurrected. I don't know. But in the movie, he didn't die. And then he ended up having the final showdown, going toe-to-toe with Voldemort. Holy smokes. I wish I could explain things better. It was so fun and so cool. I just think experiencing Hogwarts was the greatest choice I did for the August of 2025. Now that it's over, where do you think I should go next? Do you think the prequels? Should I go the extra readings where it's just about like potions and different people in the wizarding world? Should I go the regular books? And then also, tell me down below, what was your favorite movie? What was your favorite book? How did you fall into Harry Potter? I'm so interested. I want to know people's stories because this is mine. August 2025, I fell in love with it. Yeah, I might not be able to explain the whole plot the best, but we all get the plot. It deals with common themes of good versus evil. And I think that's why it is able to amass such a wide audience, because we all deal with it. We all grow up with these struggles, feeling like we're alone, building these friendships, trying to find relationships, trying to overcome what is deemed evil, and how we feel like, I don't know about you, but I've always felt like I'm almost like the main character, like the chosen one. It's just Harry Potter is so relatable and cool. And then also, what made you fall in love with the series? For me, I knew I was going to get hooked the moment that they went into the train station and Harry was looking for his train station to Hogwarts, but he couldn't find it. And then he had to go through the invisible wall. And then they reached train station 9 3/4. I'm like, this is iconic. This is so cool. I was just so amused. I loved it all. I would highly, highly recommend at least watching the movies. I'm going to go dive into the books. Be a part of the Wizarding School. It's cool.